Hi, everybody. My name is Casey Ducote. I'm with Breaking Forward Coaching, and I'm here with Linda Hotz. I'm sorry, you just told me, is it Hotz or Hotz?
It's Hotz,
It's
but
Linda Hotz.
it's hard for people, so it happens all the time. No
I
problem.
asked her 15 seconds ago, and then I just had to re-ask her. So, but we're gonna keep recording.
There we go.
So I'm here with Linda, and she's going to talk to us today about her career and where she started, where she is now, the transitions she's made, the decisions she's made, and it's going to be great. So thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel and checking it out. So Linda, I'm going to let you start. Maybe just give us an overview of your career.
Um, so again, I'm Linda Hotz. I have a background in product marketing, product development, how to sell the product, the research behind the product. And I was fortunate enough to start doing that I didn't start doing all of the work, but working for people in that role while I was co-op job in high school. And it was really fortunate because then I was like, oh, this is what I want to be when I grow up. So as I was graduating high school and thinking about a career, I knew that this was a role and a path, marketing, that I wanted to be on. And it helped to know that. So many people graduate high school and are like, I don't know. And so I had the fortunate part of working in an office, knowing what it was like, working with managers who were teaching me. So I started then, and then I continued in that role until 2023, I think. So over 40 years in marketing, almost always in durable goods, meaning products that have a plug, like a coffee machine or vacuum cleaner, not marketing of like a soda or suntan lotion. So a different type of marketing. They call it durable goods versus consumer packaged goods. And so I did that for most of my career. I worked for, I guess, 5 to 7 companies over that time. I tend to stay somewhere when I get somewhere that I like, but I also don't stay if I don't like it. Um, but most of the time, I was really fortunate and worked for great managers at great companies. And in this role, everything's always different, and that really was important for me to continue to be engaged for all those years.
What drew you to marketing?
I think it was the creative side.
Mhm.
So it was things like the product design. What should the product look like? What should the packaging look like? What should the graphics say? That creative side, but also all the problem solving that comes from an idea to get it on paper to make it into a physical product. That project management was part of the role as well. And to me, that was always fun as a leader to work with the team and everybody was on the same path, but also manage when we'd hit those roadblocks, because a project management schedule is kind of like a roadmap. You might not know that that road up ahead is closed, so you need the map, you need the plan, but you also be able to move back and forth as needed as the plan evolves or the product evolves and things change or costs change. So that constant problem solving to me is also a way that I think of using creativity.
Mhm. So I would imagine over the course of 40 years, the landscape of marketing changed. What changes did you see and how did you roll with it? And were they good changes, bad changes, just different?
I most of the time it was really good changes, and change is inevitable. So
Mhm.
if you're not happy with change, you're not going to be happy. But it was trying to think how to put this. Ask me one more time the question, because sometimes I get off on a path.
So over 40 years, how did marketing, what changes did, I
Oh
mean,
yes.
over 40 years, that's a long time. What did,
So it was just integrating the computer was the first part.
yeah.
In my first job, the computer was in a giant room by
Hmm.
itself, and there were punch cards and big giant paper reports. So evolving to the PC and then all those different softwares, and all of that stuff, making life easier, but learning all the time. And
Mhm.
I would consider myself a lifelong student. I love to learn new things. And it's even been helpful to me to have that mindset as I went through the transition to post career.
Yeah.
So that's what I think changed a lot was the computer side. And then most recently, I mean, probably in the last 10 years, there's been so many changes, as you can imagine, with the introduction of social media, how to use Facebook as marketing, and just creating social content and following. That was a whole new area that I had to learn. And it was hard because it was evolving faster than I could learn it sometimes.
Yeah.
So what I learned is you have to hire somebody that follows it every day versus trying to do it yourself, because it's
Hmm.
the role that I had was always more of a generalist than a specialist.
Hmm.
So know a little bit about that, know a little bit about that, and work with teams to create what I needed the whole team to
Hmm.
come up to collectively. Other than that, the idea of working across teams, the the idea of always starting with the consumer voice, that has been consistent over all
Hmm.
that time.
Hmm. Yeah. And I imagine the constant problem solving is always there.
Yeah, I think that's in any role.
Yeah.
I don't think that's unique to marketing.
Yeah. So, a couple years ago, you went through a major transition. Was it like what led to that transition?
In my last role, the company was really challenged by a lot of different challenges, and I was working very hard in my role to do as much as I could to help them solve some of those problems. But we didn't have all the resources that we need. And after the first year of really putting in long hours and being okay with that, because you have to learn in the first year. So things
Mhm.
take you longer. I realized that they were not going to get me help if I continued to do that. And I really needed the help to get the life balance that I wanted. So I just basically stopped working that hard and made choices about being home more, being disconnected from my phone or the emails that would constantly come in. And I had to do that for myself, but it didn't, I don't think it went over as well at the company, because a
Mhm.
lot of the people that I worked with were those type of individuals that would stay up all night to finish the report.
Yeah.
And maybe it was age, maybe it was, I don't know what it was. I just decided I wasn't going to do that anymore. So at a certain point, my manager and I spoke, and he developed a new role for me. And he told me that at the end of 6 months, he wasn't sure he was going to have a new role for me, which was kind of a surprise and um, upsetting. But I went home and I thought about it. And the way they structured the new role, there was going to be a package at the end when I was successful completing the project. So they really, if they were trying to get rid of me, they did it in a very kind way, in a way to smooth it off. And when I realized that and realized they could have just said, see ya, I came back the next day and said, I'm looking forward to this new project. And my boss is like, are you sure? And I said, no, I'm really sure this is the right thing. So I worked the 6 months, I finished the project, and I left the company. And in my mind, I was going to take some time off. I had really been burnt out. It was
Mhm.
after 2020, in fairness. Like, I think everybody was a little burnt out. It wasn't
Yeah.
just me in that company, but I really was tired. And it was almost a surprise how much stress I was under, because when you're living it, it's your life.
Yeah.
So when it went away, that's when I realized that I needed to take a break, number one. And I just assumed, I consulted for a friend, and I just assumed when I was ready to go back in the job market and find a job. I I have seriously been very fortunate of always being able to find a role, but I didn't, and it was taking longer. And then I found out about 6 months later that I was able to collect survivor benefits. My husband had passed away, And so I didn't even know such a thing existed. I checked in with Social Security to talk about, when I retire, what my situation would be, and they're the ones that told me. So then I was like, oh, okay, that gives me a little. It wasn't enough to replace a full salary, but it was enough to make me consider how else to make up the difference.
Hmm.
And I started doing a bunch of different things. I call it gig work. I was watching people's dogs and delivering food, and all of those things were just really interesting to me. Like, again, I'm thinking they're temporary. They're just going to hold me over till I find a role. And then I found a role. I finished my yoga teaching certificate also during that time, so I became a yoga teacher. And I just had to really get comfortable with not knowing and being, which was the hardest thing. I'm still a control freak, and
Hmm.
it's really hard to let go of control when you're not. And when you're not in control, it's even harder, I think, in a sense. Like, you're still
Yeah.
trying to manage it and hold on to it and figure out how to fix it. And I didn't. I got to a point where I was just like, okay, well, today is this is what I'm doing today, and tomorrow I'm going to do that, and this is how things are going to evolve from now until I settle into a role. I ended up not settling into a role and becoming a nanny and yoga teacher, and with the income from my husband's survivor benefits, that was enough
Hmm.
altogether to keep me busy enough, learning stuff still, and made the transition actually a really positive transition at the end.
Hmm.
What started as not too pleasant, a little surprising, startling, turned into absolutely the right thing for me.
Yeah. Do you miss having a full-time role in an office
I,
ever?
I miss people. And it's
Miss
funny
people.
because
Yeah.
yesterday on LinkedIn, one of my former colleagues, he had his work anniversary. I haven't talked to him in years, and I sent him a note on LinkedIn, and he called me, and we had such a great chat, and we caught up. And that's what I really miss, is
Yeah.
that camaraderie, because
Sure.
2-year-olds are fascinating, but their conversation skills are not quite there yet.
You're preaching to the choir.
Oh, that's right. You know,
Yeah.
you know better than me.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Um, and I know that the transition, leaving the corporate world, it was kind of spread out. You had time to process it and everything, but did you have any moments of like identity crisis? Like, I've been in this role for 40 years. Like, who am
Who
I?
am I? Who am I? What do I do? What do I like? What do I want to do with all this extra time? Yes, all of that came up, and I probably spent some time talking to friends and family, and really trying to figure that out with people who knew me
Hmm.
better than I knew me, because sometimes you can't
Yeah.
see.
No.
And that was really helpful. That was how I went from being like, oh, okay, so that I'm not that person anymore, or I am that person, but I'm not in that role anymore. So in my job, not the most recent one, but the one before that one, it was a fabulous job. I got to travel all over the world, meet people all over the world. I have friends still to this day in Japan and Italy, and that was so much part of my life. That travel, constant, like 75,000 miles a year at least.
Wow.
Um, but it was who I was.
Hmm.
And if you looked at my face, like, everybody was like, "Oh, where are you today? Oh, you're there," and it was really cool, and I was getting a lot of attention, and it was exciting,
Hmm.
but it was also tiring.
Yeah.
And it's funny now because I'm like, how did I ever do that? Like, if I go to take a trip somewhere, I was like, oh, this is horrible.
I know. I was just about to say
But you
that.
get used to it. Your
Yeah.
suitcase is almost always packed. You just have a system that's different. But I like being home more now. And
Hmm.
so it helped that I had the experience. So I didn't miss anything.
Hmm.
So now what's the next thing look like? Like, what's the
Hmm.
next my life look like, from that glamorous jet setting executive, going all over the world, and um, to being a nanny or
Yeah.
a yoga teacher.
A lot quieter. Well, you've no, if none if you're dealing with a 2-year-old.
No, no, but in general, less like less travel, less
Hmm.
chaos,
Yeah.
and more being home. I had been renting too in the role, and when I moved down to Pennsylvania, I bought a house. So that also gave me, as I transitioned out, a lot of things to focus on.
Yeah.
Like painting and fixing
Projects.
and building a garden and all the things that I always have wanted to do but never had
Hmm.
time to. That kind of nesting, I guess,
Yeah.
was a really good antidote to some of the transition issues
Hmm.
as well.
Hmm.
All the things you always say, "Oh, I'm going to do this when I retire. I'm going to do this when I
Yeah.
retire." I
You get
got
to
to
do
do
it
one of
now.
those
Yeah.
things.
Were any of your colleagues or friends or family were they like, Linda, what are you doing? Like, go
No,
back to the
no,
office.
no. I think they trusted me to
Yeah.
know um, what I wanted to do, and I wasn't. I was surviving. I wasn't thriving. I wasn't saving money like I had, but I was fine. I was doing
Hmm.
fine, and I think they could also tell that I was happier.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to go back to something you mentioned before, how at the last job, a lot of your colleagues were, it doesn't sound like they had any boundaries or balance. They were up all night on their phones to do projects, and you were firm, which is so hard to do, and be like, the phone's going away. This is family time. And there's just such a culture that we have that is just go, 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 sacrifice everything else for your career, or you're doing something wrong. And we are seeing so many people that are just so burnt out. Um, so I mean, that's amazing that you were able to set those boundaries. And um, how did you, what symptoms of burnout were you experiencing?
I was very teary.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I was sad. It was because I was frustrated.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of women suffer from this, that they cry when they're angry.
Yeah.
And it's really a problem because you can't speak your anger in a way that doesn't sound emotional. And all of a sudden you're an emotional person
You're
instead of
hysterical.
being a justified,
Yeah.
anger situation. And that started happening a lot. Like, I was
Hmm.
quick to anger, quick to being upset about things. And that's not great for office camaraderie. It wasn't ever anybody on my team, like my colleagues that I work with on a daily basis. It would be more with like people who weren't as engaged in the business on an everyday basis, but thought they knew better than the team
Hmm.
on what to do, or wouldn't do things they said they would. It was just, it wasn't anybody doing anything horrible. They just weren't being supportive of the role, and if anything, harming, being negative, and not helping. So I thought that was a big signal that I kind of ignored. I think women tend to say that's on you, the emotional and the frustration instead. And honestly, you always have to be like, okay, what do I own on this? What do I do differently? How do I manage? And that was when I realized I had to disconnect.
Hmm.
I had to separate because it wasn't helping the situation for the company, and it wasn't helping the situation for Linda.
Hmm.
And that's a really important thing to pay attention to, is how is your relationship with management, with colleagues? Um, are you happy on, how do you feel on Sunday night? That to me was another big deal. Like,
Yeah.
I was miserable on Sunday
Dread.
nights,
Yeah.
miserable. I started to try and find things I could do out of the house. So, like a yoga class or go to a pottery class, just something so I wasn't sitting home dreading waking up the next day
Hmm.
and starting a new week of that. That's something you really should pay attention to.
Yeah.
Not that everybody can fix that right away, but like, you can make a plan. You can
Hmm.
start, and that making of a plan is enough to kind of give you more calm. Like you're not just being a victim
Hmm.
of a situation, you're actually taking steps, even if it takes a while to change the situation. And you
Yeah.
do have to know your boundaries. You have to, no one's going to ever tell you. Most companies, that's not fair. Most companies will let you work for as many hours as you want to work and never tell you to stop. I was fortunate enough to work for a company that was owned by Italians, so they have a different way
Hmm.
of approaching business. And we would we would we would go over there, and it was like so different. Like they'd be like, okay, we're going to lunch, and then we'd sit and talk for an hour. They didn't talk about work. We just, we might go out, we might stay in, and we're all like,
Time is money.
time is money, exactly. And they're just, no, no, it's not. And then
Hmm.
at 5 o'clock, people would leave. They recognized that life work balance, and
Yeah.
that helped me. And also a company I worked with that was out in Atlanta, outside of Atlanta in the South. It's different too.
Hmm.
A lot of this attitude of working, 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 I find is, I don't know the rest of the company, but I find is very country, but it's Northeast, the Puritan work ethic.
Right.
The South, you work hard too. Don't we worked hard, but we also knew, 5 o'clock on Friday, everyone's gone,
Hmm.
and the managers were usually gone by 4.
Yeah.
So it really set the culture of be with your family, be with your friends, refresh yourself, and come back Monday.
Hmm.
So I think having those experiences gave me the strength and the knowledge to know when I had to put those boundaries up and say no,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah. Good for you. And it sounds like you already had some good habits and self-care and interests and hobbies and stuff in place before you even had that meeting with the manager that, not all of your identity was tied to
Right.
this job. You had, sounds like you had yoga, you had pottery, you had
Yeah.
friends.
I think that's also important. I was new here, so I didn't know anybody, so I had to find things
Yeah,
to meet people. And once, I moved here in COVID, so the first year, forget it.
forget it.
Second year, maybe even kind of forget it.
Hmm.
And then I was able to start, building a community outside of the office. But my son was here; he had lived with me at the time, so I had family, so
Hmm.
to speak, here as well.
Yeah, yeah. What's your favorite thing that's changed for you?
I can take a day off whenever I want.
Yeah.
So the trick is I can take time off whenever I want, but
Hmm.
if I don't work, I don't get paid.
Sure.
So that's the balance. Like this week, I was sick Wednesday and Thursday, and we just decided why bother? Why take a chance? The mom of the baby is pregnant. Like, don't nobody needs to be sick at that house.
Yeah.
So I took Friday too, but that meant okay, 3 days without work. Actually, it was 4 because I didn't work Tuesday because I had a doctor's appointment. So you know,
You got to
it,
play catch up. Yeah.
yeah, you got to play catch up. But I do need the income, so it is important for me to work as much as I can. But
Hmm.
I'm also going to cut back on my nannying hours. I was working more for the pregnant mom because she needed more help, and I just wanted to do it. But then I realized that I need to cut back a day. I need to have time to do other stuff.
Hmm.
And I was tired. You have little children, so
Yeah.
I
I'm
was
ex
tired, like
I'm
bone tired,
exhausted.
physically tired,
Yeah.
brain tired, body tired.
Yeah.
So and it's not good for the child then either. So
Hmm.
we're gonna go back to. I was doing 3 days there, and we're gonna go back to 3 because I had gone to 3.5 and 4, and it just had also have another day somewhere else.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, those kids will wear you down.
Yeah, so it's nice to have that freedom,
Uh-huh.
to not work when I don't want to work or can't work or want to go away.
Hmm.
Um, that's one of the big
Yeah.
benefits.
Hmm.
I that's probably and also just doing different things. Like I went out and played the other day. like being outdoors has been really
Yeah.
positive, and I try and not in the last week or two, but
No.
in
Yeah.
general, I do try and get out
Uh-huh.
with the kids especially. And now I got a dog, so he could make me go out. But poor thing's been stuck in the house.
Yeah. Yeah, we're feeling the cabin fever.
Oh,
It
huge.
just started last night and we're already cabin fevered. Just I think school's probably going to be canceled all this week. It's going to be character building for all of us.
There you go.
Yeah, and I know it's not like being an executive in a company, but being around little kids like that's a that's
It's a whole
leadership
different,
right
yeah,
there.
it's a
That's
whole different set of.
yeah.
But as you say that, you're right. As a team leader, I had to figure out what's going to motivate the engineer to finish his project and help financing figure out the answer here. And it's kind of like that. Like,
Yeah.
what are we going to have for lunch? Or what are we
Yeah.
going to play now? And so I think that part carried over.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, let's see. I have some questions here. What would you say to the executive who feels deep down that he or she wants to make a big life change but is afraid?
Afraid is okay. I
Hmm.
mean, it's a scary thing. So being afraid is to me just a signal
Yeah.
to be careful
Hmm.
and take it slow. Don't doesn't mean, oh, I'm too afraid, because sometimes even all of us, we get afraid and then we freeze,
Yeah.
and that's just makes you more fearful actually, because you're still, you
You're
haven't changed the
paralyzed.
situation
Yeah.
at all. So it is, and I say this like I'm an expert and take this at my own advice all the time. I had to learn that, like,
Uh-huh.
okay, what do you want to do differently? What would a good situation look like? What do you not like at this role that you liked at other roles, and how do you get back there?
Hmm.
So figuring that out, and then figuring out how to get from where you are to there.
Hmm.
Don't let the fear be anything other than a signal
Hmm.
that you need to figure it out and not just jump,
Hmm. Yeah.
especially now.
Yeah. Um, true. I think that covers about most of my questions. If someone is feeling stuck or misaligned, what's what's one small step they can take today instead of making a big jump?
I had success speaking with the HR
Uh-huh.
folks in all the companies when I was struggling. Um, there was, whether or my manager or a mentor, somebody who understands the organization,
Hmm.
somebody in HR. I mean, not all human resources people are the best, but I was, again, fortunate enough to work with people I trusted, and I could talk to and say, this is what's going on, and how do I move on from this? And got a lot of good coaching from those folks.
Good.
And they also know what opportunities are coming, so maybe they'll have ideas on roles that you might be able to transfer to.
Yeah.
I know that's not going to work for everybody, but that was a really good tool for me. Even if it was just grounding to let me know, you know what, there are no other tools,
Yeah.
and the situation isn't going to change here.
Hmm.
Um, those folks were really helpful.
Good. That's good to hear because a lot of times people are afraid to go to HR.
Well, and I think you have to start off with like, I need to talk to you, and I need your help.
Hmm.
Whereas if you go in like you're just going to complain,
Yeah.
that probably would come out with a different outcome.
Hmm.
And sometimes you do need to complain, and that's okay. But
Yeah.
maybe do that at lunch with your friend,
Right.
and then go to HR.
Um, okay, so one last question.
Okay.
What's what's something in the future that you're looking forward to and after this life change? What's the one thing you're looking forward to most in this next chapter?
I have been lucky enough to travel in Europe and Asia a bit. I haven't traveled. I mean, I've traveled in the US, but just to go to a meeting and then go home.
Yeah.
So there's so much parts of this great country
Yeah.
that I really just, I've never been to Colorado. Like I've never been to Maine. I mean, there's so many places I haven't been to that
Hmm.
in my dream retirement, I'm driving my car or my RV and I'm just going across country and visiting all those
Hmm.
people and places and seeing what's this country's all about.
Yeah. So you already have the RV?
No, it's a dream RV.
Uh-huh.
I'm not
It's
sure if
on
I
your
really
it's
want
on
one.
your vision board.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if I want an RV because I think like I kind of like staying in hotels
Yeah.
and it'll be cheaper.
Uh-huh.
I'm not a camper. I don't know where I think I'm going to all of a sudden become a camper. So we'll see how it ends up. But traveling in the U.S. is definitely, even by train, that's one of my real dreams.
Hmm. Hmm. Great. Well, thank you so, so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Um, if you're watching this video on our YouTube channel, thanks for listening, and make sure that you check us out on Facebook and LinkedIn. And on our website, we have a lot of great blog posts. And Linda, thanks again so much for your
My
time.
pleasure.
I hope that your pipes don't freeze.
Got the heaters on them,
I
so
hope
they
that
won't.
your electricity stays
Make sure you
on.
have the water running.
Yep. And I was like, I moved here to Charlotte from Florida. So someone
You
said,
got
make sure
nothing.
your sinks are dripping. And I was like, no,
You have to
no,
leave your
you don't
six.
leave the sinks on. But now my sinks are on.
Yeah.
Oh, so thanks again so much. And I hope